Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Friday morning. What is it, August 1st? Look at that, we're out of July. Getting close to fall. But anyway, it's Friday morning, time for the Friday after Bill Burr's Thursday before Friday, before the weekend spoof podcast, whatever the fuck you want to call it. If you listen, you know I'm Joe. If you don't, welcome to the fucking show. Anyways, got a lot to talk about, some funny shit. I didn't listen to Bill yet. You know, like I said, Thursdays he does a half hour. And not that he's not funny, but, you know, it's his podcast. He's got his political sentiments and whatnot, yada yada. So, I figured I'll save that for, Tuesday. Give me something to talk about, because the weekends are usually pretty dull. And like I said, I got some interesting stories. So, if you listen, like I said, if you don't, welcome to the fucking show. But if you do, then you know that this week in particular, I think I was saying on, it's fucking, yeah, okay, we're at the end. I almost thought it was the first cast of the week. No, so yeah, this week in particular and over the weekend, it's just been kind of, I've been like, more to myself kind of person, not person, like I, changed my whole fucking personality, but just, sticking to me, doing what I need to do, going to work, going home, fucking, sticking to myself, like not really hanging out with friends or anything like that, after having an issue with a friend. And like I said, we resolved it, we're cool, everything's straight. So the stories start there. And this friend and I have a mutual, it's like a motherly figure to him that lives here in Michigan. And, she's caught wind of, we've had a couple, like I said, nothing physical, nothing like that, but, a couple arguments, whatever you want to call it, screaming matches. It's good that, two testosterone-filled dudes, with a little bit of alcohol probably, or if not probably, if, most likely. And then, whatever on top, smoking, fucking, I don't smoke cigarettes, but, he has a cigarette here and there. I don't think that counts towards, anger, but anyways, just for the sake of the argument. But so she gets the idea, like, all right, they're not really getting along, and it's like, all right, let's do this event. And she says, it's called, it's like, they got music in the parks all around all the different towns, and let's try this one. And this is a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, yeah, fuck it, like, I'll get out. Not to the lady, she's 70, 71, so you're not saying fuck. Well, yeah, with her her religious background, and then the way she is, you're not saying curse words around her, if you respect her, her wishes. But I digress. Anyways, no, the point, so she says, let's try this music in the park, let's all go, so it's like, not a bonding event, but a bonding event, I guess, for lack of better terms. And like I said, a couple weeks ago, I was gung-ho, let's fucking go, music in the park. I'm thinking, okay, it's gonna be, she's 70, she likes, so she's born in, like, that'd be 1955 or 54, depending on when her birthday is. So, okay, so, or maybe 56 if she just turned, well, no, it'd be, 55. So either way, she grew up, like Greece was, like, she grew up in the Greece times damn near, like, I guess, it was like, Back to the Future, the McFly, the parents, she was born when that movie would have taken place, I guess. Point being, again, sorry about all that fucking a roundabout fucking painting a picture here. Just like Bill always said, I'm painting a picture. Apparently I'm painting a fucking Picasso or something, but no. So this is a couple weeks ago, gung-ho for the event. Now comes the event, and I'm like, Sunday comes, and that was after my friend and I had the big, argument. And I was like, look, man, it's not you, it's not her. I'm not saying the fucking cliche, oh, it's me. I'm not going there either. But look at that. A coworker just ran the shit out of her. If that's a I'm gonna catch him. Oh, I'm not gonna catch her. There's no fucking way. Oh, maybe I can. If I'm lucky, if this light changes and she drives slow enough. I'm calling her out tomorrow at work. I'm saying, or no, Monday. I'm calling her out and saying, yep. I'm calling her out and saying, I saw you running a light on the way away from work. But fuck, where was I going? No, sorry. We go to this show. Go to the show. And so I'm not wanting to go, right? I'm already like, all right, I don't want to go. That was on the weekend, and the show was Wednesday. And then yesterday there was another in the park, but I didn't go to that because the Wednesday one. So we get there, and the only reason I went was because I already said yes, and it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't even, I'm not going for him. I wasn't doing it for me. I was doing it for the pure fact of, I told this lady, she's 70. I told her I would go. She's doing it to try and make my friend and I, closer or get along better, whatever the case, get us, out of our houses and, social. I don't fucking know. But so I'm thinking, okay, cool. Like music in the park. It's going to be, anything from 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. I mean, I wasn't thinking like, modern day hip hop and stuff, depending on what park and which town, but I wasn't thinking it. But, I also wasn't thinking what the fuck, so we get there, and now, again, this whole story, keep in mind, I don't want to be here, and now I'm finding out it's all 60s music, which, okay, I know, so, like, I know the Beatles, I know, I don't know them enough, like, I know, this song by, on this album, and it was released in this day, and they sang at this, no, I don't know that shit, but if you play the Beatles, I could be like, oh yeah, I've heard this song. I know, yeah, I know them. That's what so, and then same thing, like they had, Born to Be Wild and something about strawberries in San Francisco, and then there was a song for Ohio. There was an Ohio shooting. There's a lot of war era, like 66, 69, Summer of Love, fucking Woodstock songs, which I believe you can appreciate music from any time, or from any genre. You might not like it. No, I didn't like it. I appreciated it, though. But the point is, I didn't want to be there. So now I'm frustrated because, I agreed, and then I let myself get dragged into when, it could have been like, no offense, but I'm tired. I'm just got off work, I just don't want to go anywhere, Nobody's going to make me. I'm fucking grown, but... I wanted to be nice to the lady. Like I said, I don't know, it was for her. And she fucking, her little hands were waving and fucking jiggling and rocking. And she had a blast. So, you know what? Fuck it. But, no, I'm sitting there the whole time like, man, if I could fucking just sneak out. Like, if it's too bad I don't smoke cigarettes or something. If I could just get outside, grab a fucking Uber. I'll just say, I went to the car... to grab a cigarette. It started raining real hard, and I didn't know what to do, and I didn't know the music, so I just figured I'll just meet you at home, or, say I didn't feel good, some shit, I don't know, make up a fucking story, but, oh, son of a bitch. Ain't that, I left something at home. Ain't that a motherfucker. Oh, well, I guess I'm stopping at the store today. Well, looks like we're stopping on the way home, guys. I just added something to my list. Fuck, I thought I was going to be able to just talk and drive home, sit in my driveway and bullshit with you guys. Now I got to sit at, I guess I'll stop at CVS. It's the closest thing on the way home. So we're sitting at this fucking music in the park. What happened is it started raining real hard. And, of course, small towns like these in this area. I don't know if anybody's familiar with small towns in, the Midwest and whatnot. But, so we're, the park is, pretty much attached to, like, city, town, center, pretty much, or town, yeah, city center, town center, whatever you want to call it. And, I caught up to the lady. The one I said I was gonna fucking say something about the red light. I can't say something in the car, obviously, but I'm behind her. And I just waved at her, so we'll see what happens there. And then look at this. We're gonna do the fucking turn lane too. Yeah. So we're at this concert, right? It's raining. It ends up being inside. They got like a little music hall inside. It's small, like at the concert in the park. That's in the park, so you could have, couple hundred people out there easy, just in, on the lawn with their towels, blankets, fucking chairs. People could smoke. People could bring some drinks. It would have been better a little bit, at least for me, if it was outside and on the grass. I can move around a little bit. I didn't feel so, stuffed. But as it was, I'm stuffed, and like I said, the music I have no problem with. There was actually kids, like, one of my best friends lives back in Pinellas, in Tampa Bay. I already said Pinellas, but I won't say where in the county, you fucking creeps. But, she has a son who's about the age, like, look, damn near like that. When I saw the kid dancing, actually, I didn't want to take a picture and send it to her, but at the same time, I was looking at it, and I'm like, dude, if I didn't know any better, I would say that's her fucking kid down there, and I would start looking for her. But no, I quickly came to realize, and the friend that I was going with, not the 70-year-old lady that is the motherly figure to him, but I think he's talked or made comments before, and he's 45, 46, no, 45, 46 next year. 45, and I'm 33. Might as well say 34 because it's close enough. But either way, so about 11-year gap. And so, I get it. 11 years. Born in 91 from 1980. So 1980, he's 10 years old, 11 years old. And so 1960s music, 30-year-old music, that's listening to, 1995 now. And a lot of people know fucking, Tupac and fucking Biggie and all that shit. So, I mean, it's not a stretch, by any means. Now, that being said, give me 1 second. I got this fucking, so my beard, it's all curly, which I don't care. It's fine. But I get these fucking random curl hairs that come out. Oh, hold on, that's gonna hurt. Cause I got a fucking... Yeah, and it's so thick too. Come on, you piece of shit. Cut it. Oh, I gotta put my face... Hold on, I'm trying not to cut my fucking face. There we go. There we go. Cut that bitch. Jesus. Oh, pocket knives are not good for beards. Especially if you got a thick one like mine. Jesus. I might as well just rip it out of my face, but that would hurt even worse. Wow. How many hairs are left on this fucking thing, man? I'm gonna cut my finger before I cut my... There we go. Holy shit. Anyways, there we go. So yeah, I got curly beard. What happens is little parts curl up. Oh shit, there's the fucking dude from the story I was about to talk about. Look at that small town life, man. 75-year-old fucking guy. And that's back to my story. Sorry about the random, you got a beard hair or a fucking, a random hair on your mustache that's poking you gotta get it. You gotta pluck it, pull it, cut it, fucking, whatever you gotta do. But, 75-year-old man, that was at the fucking music show. So that's what I came to quickly realize was, I understood that I'm open-minded in music and art and stuff like that. So, fine, like I said, I didn't want to be there, but I still appreciated the music. No, I wasn't jamming or having a good time, but I wasn't having a bad time. It felt more like a waste. Actually, it's funny. People say, like, oh, you're wasting your time doing the podcast, man. Nobody listens. Nobody gives a shit. Bill's not going to listen. Adam Sandler's never going to hear it. Fucking, Jimmy Carr, whoever. Fucking, Steven Spielberg, Michael Bay, you're not going to be an actor, man. You're not going to be a comedian. It's just a fucking waste of time. Everybody tries to be YouTube famous or whatever the fuck, negative shit they give me. But then, then I got this fucking event, and I'm sitting here like, this feels more like a waste of time than the podcast. At least, like I said, the podcast, at least this, worst case, something ever happens to me, everybody in my family that survives me, sisters, hopefully kids, etc., they'll all get to go back and listen to fucking stupid old brother, stupid old dad, stupid old uncle, fucking Uncle Jackass, Grandpa Jackass, whatever the fuck I end up, being. They can go back and listen and laugh at it. But, so I'm sitting here at this place, and I'm, like I said, quickly realized that everybody around me is white hair. And I don't mean white hair in a younger, because, men can hit white hair young. Like, I know a man, actually a decent, a decent work friend. We're not really, we don't talk outside of work, I'm not saying he's not a good guy, but, as far as at work, all respect, cool, jokes, fun. So, yeah, but he's actually younger than I am, I believe, by a few months, and he's, he's more salt than pepper. So, when I mean white hair, for the rest of the story, for the context of the story, when I say white hair, I mean nursing home. Like, I mean a veteran of white hair. Like, you're not a newbie to white hair. It's not, this is my first time having white hair. I can't believe it. I can actually order from the senior breakfast menu. No, I mean the people that are like, God damn it, I have to fucking, this menu's so small. I've been ordering off the senior menu for 40 years. I'm 96 years old. Just let me fucking go, all right? That's that's what the whole, the lady that brought us was one of the younger, I'd say, being 70, or more, one of the more spry. So I quickly find out that, this is not, and bless her heart, which I know apparently I've learned can be an insult in the Midwest, because it's kind of like you're so stupid, but it's like the nice way of saying it. So I don't mean it in that way. I mean, bless her heart for trying. But, bringing me out, even my friend, he's got salt and pepper. He might have a little, maybe he likes older women or once, but, I mean, like I said, it was all like grandmothers, and then their granddaughters, if they brought their granddaughters, it's like, well, their granddaughters are like 12, 13, so it's like, where's the mom? Obviously, she's at work, but I'm like, that's like the one generation that's missing here. You got the fucking, she was born in the 50s. My mom was born 66, so she grew up with, Ozzy in the 70s and all that, and all the new metal and new rock, or not new rock, but at that time, new rock, and then 80s rock, etc. Dad was, born in the 60s. So same thing, and then my friend is born in 80, and I'm born in 90, so yeah, that whole 60s music, my mom didn't really play too much, like I said, she grew up on the 70s music, of her childhood, just like the lady, just like this 70-year-old lady, but my friend was jamming out, so I was like, alright, they're both having a good time. I didn't know, I knew 2 or 3 of the songs, and the rest, it's like, do you know this? And I'm like, oh yeah, well, I heard, one line, but I heard it from a fucking Geico commercial, or a Chevy commercial, fucking, Born to Be Wild, or Born to Be Wild, or whatever. I mean, I heard that song, a lot of people know that one, so I'm not, saying that, but in general, it's like, if I heard it, it's a slogan from a commercial or something. It's not something I actually, heard fucking, like I said, something about strawberries in San Francisco, and fucking, this is for whatever town in Ohio, and it's like, dude, I wasn't, where were you when JFK was shot? I wasn't fucking here. I wasn't alive yet. So, it was like, taking a bad situation, and then you put it even worse, because you're telling me you need to get out, you need to make friends, other friends, so you guys, aren't just hanging out with each other. And what fucking friend am I supposed to make, for a story to listen? Yeah, listening to stories, you got shit to tell me about, the fucking Korean War, or like I said, where you were when JFK, you know, got shot or whatever the case, blah, blah, blah. You know, by all means, then if that's the kind of friend you're talking about, then yeah, we're at the perfect place. But if you're talking about making friends that I'm going to go to their house and watch a movie, you know, order a pizza on a Friday, have a beer or you know, whatever, smoke, fucking, like none of it worked. You know, like I said, it was. I even told the friend that I went with that was 45. Well, I said was, he is 45. I told him, I was like, dude, I feel like I'm at a fucking nursing home. Like none of these people should be dancing right now. I feel like there's bionic hips are going out like crazy right now. Like fucking the static charge on the dance floor from all the hips rubbing around. It's gonna electrocute old Nana over here. It's gonna get the fucking electric chair. The electric slide's gonna happen to everybody, and they're gonna cha-cha right the fuck out the door because all the the bionic hips and shit. No, I said that, you know, and then I heard the lady, like I said, she's motherly figure to him. You know, I heard her, she leaned over and I heard her say, she's like, I see you're having fun. Is he enjoying himself? And he looks over at me and I'm like, just please tell her whatever the fuck she wants to hear. Like, I don't know what he told her, but she didn't ask, you know, so I'm assuming it was good. But it was like, just you know, don't ruin her mood. Don't ruin your mood. I hate when, you know, that happens. Don't, you know, I'm in a bad mood. Let me soak in my seat, and you guys, you know, don't look at me and enjoy yourself. You know, fuck what I'm thinking, because I wasn't in the mood for it. And then on top of that, I'm at a nursing home. You know, feels like a nursing home. And on top of that, you know, like I said, out of the say 20 song set list, you know, I knew 2 or 3, and even then I didn't know the whole song. I just knew the chorus because I had heard it in commercials and shit. So yeah, that happened. So yeah, as far as getting out, fucking meeting people, like I said, that was a complete failure, a bomb, you know, in that case. I mean, yeah, got to appreciate some music. Oh, that's another thing I wanted to mention. So there was a song, I don't know the name of the song, I don't fucking know the band, I don't know. All I know is it's supposed to be anti-racial, anti-discrimination. But the song's just going along, and you know, just like anybody else, like my grandma listening, you know, when she would listen to rock and roll, you know, she'd be like, I don't know how you can hear the words because the instruments are so loud. And in the concert, it's not that I can't hear the words, but you know, you're live, people are dancing and singing, you got, you know, it's live anyway, so they're doing a performance. You're taking all of it in, you know, you're not just, I wasn't listening word for word, like, what is he saying? Is he talking about me? You know, I was just taking in the experience. But it was anybody can join this club, and so I heard that part, didn't really think anything of it, and the song keeps going on, and then it's like, but you gotta have a membership card or some shit like that, and I thought, and that's the first time I can say, not first time in my life, but first time since I've been bitching about Bill with his podcast, because he's always like, the rich white people, the rich white billionaire, rich white this, rich white that. And I agree, you know, the rich, yes, and mostly, I'd say white, I'd agree, yes, mostly. Because, you know, obviously there's billionaires and CEOs that are, you know, from like an Arabian background or an Indian background or a African, like there's not, you know, not everybody rich and powerful is all white, but majority and the assholes. And so yeah, I'll agree on that. But for the first time since he started bitching and since I started bitching about him bitching, for the first time I felt I was in his shoe, like not his shoes and the money and in the, you know, I'm Bill, but in the sense of like, I felt what he felt like when he's like, for example, he talks about Nia and him watching an Elvis thing, and he's like, you know, I could just feel the tension, like Nia's just bubbling up over here, ready to fucking snap, you know, because so and so is just, you know, because Elvis appropriated the culture and then he gave no credit, and you know, he made a joke and all, but anyway, so no, I'm sitting there and, you know, like I said, a lot of the songs are anti-war, or they're supposed to be like fucking, you know, kind of like protest songs, like, you know, peaceful love, we're all together, like all the shit that I always preach, But then I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, and like I said, I didn't know the whole song yet. I read the lyrics, I looked it up, so now I know the song. Now I know it is, basically making fun of, talking shit against discrimination. So it's for equality. It's for the good, the better, So now after reading about it, I have to listen and I might have a different take. But in concert, live in action, it's like like I said, you only catch the tidbits, and you put the information together that you get. So okay, I'm at a concert. It's all 1960s music. Okay, in 1960s, MLK was fighting for for full equality because it was still segregation and all that, blah blah blah. And so, so MLK and civil rights we're still fighting to have everybody actually be for real equal. And so I'm like, okay, so now I got a time setting in my head. So we got the time setting. Second, okay, that's, like I said, that's the music. The music is the time setting. Secondly, the crowd. I'm looking around, all white-haired, like I said, nursing home age, 70, 65 to 90. I'd assume 90. I don't know how much higher they'd go, but if they're mobile, but 65 and up, either way, all very kind of, I don't want to say hoity-toity, but I looked around and I'm like, no shit, it's all old white people. And I'm like, okay, so now we're set in the 60s, and we're with a bunch of old white people who obviously have money because all the cars in the parking lot are nicer than what I ever had or have, and and they're all dressed in their, like their church clothes damn near, or like their floral dresses with their, their khakis and blah blah blah, and I'm like, okay, so we got the setting, we got the people, and now we got the context. Anybody can join this club, but you gotta have a membership card. And then I'm looking around, and I'm like, look at that. Anybody can come in and listen to this music. And you don't have to have a membership to go to the music thing. But in my head, I'm like, this is the most this is a fucking, I just got brought to a racist nursing home church session because there was some church music. Well, it wasn't church, but they snuck in a couple Jesus is my friend, Jesus is my friend, kind of, those kind of fucking hi-ho cheerio, dirt, fucking whatever kind of shit. And they snuck in a couple of those, so I'm like, after a little while, I'm sitting here like, this is supposed to be for us to get out and meet people and make friends. And here I am, at a fucking Klan, a Klan, concert, I fucking didn't even know I was here. No, it wasn't actually Klan. It was, it's just old white folks and their fucking 60s, Woodstock music. But, no, like I said, when you're in the moment with the context, the setting, and the people, I was like, well, what the fuck, man? This is not especially not what I wanted to do. 60s music and older folks is already one thing, and if I knew the music, it'd be better. If I knew people, it might have been better. If I was old, it'd been better. But then you throw in the context, that shit, that's what the first thing I got home, I was like, dude, the one song, did I hear that right? And my friend had to say, no, he's like, they're saying that that's the point. He's like, that's the point, is what they're saying, is that's how people act, is that they act like you're allowed to be, a friend. You're allowed to be in the club. They act like you're cool, but then when you try, that's when you need the membership. It's like, oh yeah, you and me, we're good. You're cool. We're equal. But then when it's like, hey, we're equal, right? No, we're not. That's I guess what the song was kind of teasing at. And like I said, I don't remember the name of it, but it's something about long-haired guys need not apply or some shit like that. That's how it starts, which I have long hair, but I didn't catch that part, so like I said, it was all context. But, so, as frustrating as it was fucking hilarious, because I'm like, what did I get myself into, just by just being nice and saying, like, sure, I'll go. And then, there was a sign that we shouldn't have gone. We're getting ready. First of all, this lady, super nice, but she's getting mad that my friend and I had a few arguments. So it's like, it's raining. I run to the car. He's trying to be nice and carrying chairs and umbrellas and shit. So he's going slower. He's carrying shit. I ran. I was like, I don't care if there's seats or not. I'm not getting all soaked. But he didn't care. So I'm in the car and she's like, what is he doing? And I'm like, well, he didn't know if they have seats or not, if it was still going to be outside. He's just trying to be a good person. He's just trying to help out. She's like, I don't give a damn. He needs to get his fucking ass in the car. So, I'm like, jeez. I'm like, here it is, the lady trying to broker peace, Here's the third party that's trying to make peace between us and make us friends and all this. Not make us, but, make more friends. And you take us to an event where we can't meet anybody. We don't know anybody. We barely know the music. You're mad at us for taking too long. And now on top of that, on the way out, not even get the door open yet. I went to my room to grab something, and I was coming out, like, I didn't even have a chance to come out of the room. And I just hear him in the living room. He's just, ooh, ah, yeah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ah, ooh. Fucking like the guy like Bill talked about on the airplane when they had the turbulence. And he was like, as a grown man, when you hear that, it scares you. I heard him doing that. And I'm thinking, like, it sounded like he's, like, dancing on hot coals, or he's stepping on glass, or I don't know what it is, But so I come, like, hauling ass around the corner. I'm like, what? And he's like, I don't fucking know, dude, but it was hurting me. I don't know. And come to find out, there was wasp landed and flew like a kamikaze, flew into his neck, like how they just fly in, like they just bounce against the windows and shit. So I'm assuming it bounced against his neck, but he I'm one of those, like, if a bug touches me, I do like a fucking 360 cartwheel, triple backflip, fucking handstand, into the balance beam, across the floor, into the triple flip, fucking stick the landing 50 yards away like that. So it ain't going, well, I can't say ain't going down my shirt, but yeah, I'm doing everything I can to get the fuck away from that thing, because I don't want especially a wasp, because they just sting over and over and over and over. They don't give a shit, it's just like, at least the bee, the bee has to really think about it, like, is this really worth my fucking life? Like, I know bees don't think like this, but just say for the story, the bee's like, so what happened is, when he swatted it on his neck, he pissed it off, and then it fell in his shirt. Well, even a bee would have done it. But like I said, say for the context, the bee, knowing that it dies if it stings somebody, the bee's like, okay, I got one sting. Are we near the hive? Probably not. Okay, so that's a no. Did I land on this thing and then something attacked me? Yes. So maybe it's the thing. Maybe the thing is scared. Okay, I'm out of that. Let's see, number 3. I get one sting, is it worth my life? Or should I try and find my way out of this? And maybe if I get smacked again, then I'll sting. Maybe the bee would have went through his options first. Little Jerry Seinfeld bee. The movie, remember that movie? They should have made more. But, no, I'd like to think like a bumblebee, honeybee, they'd go into more depth of thought. Of like, is this worth it? Whereas the wasp is just like, you want to smack me, motherfucker? Sting. I don't care where, sting. And so, he's like panicking, she got his shirt off. We killed the wasp. Pretty decent stinger. It was a paper wasp. It wasn't like a super poisonous or yellow jacket or anything, luckily. But it fucking got him like 4, 5, 6 times. Like, he's like, look at my back, man. He's like, is there any bug bites? Because something bit me or stung me. And, one sec. Sorry about that. Anyways, yeah, he's like, something bit me or stung me. And I'm like, yeah, let me look. And you got the typical, yellowish, not yellow, but the welts, they're swelling up. You got the dot in the middle. And I count, there's like 4, 5, or 6. I'm like, dude, this fucking thing, like fell into your shirt and just went off, like, because at the same time he's moving around trying to get this thing out of his shirt, and he's getting his and trying to get his shirt off, to get whatever is stinging him, stabbing him in the back. He's trying to get the fuck off of him. So it's like this thing, had the grip or the mentality to just like old, World War II Japanese kamikaze style, like, fight for the emperor, kind of like the fucking I was about to say the audacity of this fucking wasp, to just keep stinging. And I'm big-hearted, I don't hurt animals, even when they piss me off, because I have a cat. Oh yeah, and I love him to death. He's my best buddy. I hope he lives a long, healthy, happy life, and I hope to be there for every moment, including the saddest moment at the end. I'm hoping to be holding him just like I was when he came to me. As above, so below, kind of thing, or however you want to put it. As was, so is. I know that's not a saying, the second part. I just said it because fuck it. But the point is, I'm not like even a wild animal. I'm only gonna hurt it if I'm in danger myself. But when it comes to, and like I said, that's where it comes to the bee and the wasp. When it comes to a wasp, I'm sorry, but just like a mosquito, like to me, there's no reason for a mosquito besides feeding other bugs. But the fact that you steal my blood, you spit in it, and you could possibly give me a disease, like you're just an asshole bug. So I'll kill a mosquito. Wasps, they say they're pollinators, but bees pollinate everything that I can think of that we need, and I'll fucking pollinate myself. Like, I'd rather go around with a Q-tip in a fucking farm and pollinate shit by hand than have a bunch of wasps flying around fucking stinging people and shit. But, yeah, so the evil in me came out because I'm like, okay, this little fucker, like, you come into another animal's home. It's like me going into a cave and then biting a bear while he's sleeping, and then the bear getting mad and smacking me, and then me being like, oh yeah, and then stabbing the bear. Well, like not stabbing, because I don't that, but like what's a bee sting like to it? So it'd be like taking like a screwdriver, I guess, like a small screwdriver, and like screwdriving the bear like 4 times. Like, just enough to piss him off to where he mauls me. Not enough to actually hurt the bear, or cause any issues. Just enough, or not a screwdriver. Those when you work at a warehouse, you get those knives with the Walmart or Home Depot blades. You switch out every like 3 minutes because they go dull so fast. One of those, that'd be perfect, because that wouldn't hurt the bear. But it'd be just enough to piss him off where he'd maul you. And so I'm thinking, like, if this bug's got the fucking audacity and the balls to fly in, land, get warned, because when he smacked it, it wasn't like a swatter, a hard smack. He just flipped it with his shirt. So it's just like he had another shirt in his hand. He was going to change shirts, I think. So it was just like hey, whatever you are, just leave me alone. Which, like I said, I'm not saying the bee or the wasp have the fucking mental power to sit there and be like, oh, I'm sorry, dude. My bad. But it's just, in my head, I'm thinking, all right, well, let's make sure, I'm not aiming to kill it, but I'm taking that stinger out. And by the time I got to it, he wanted to identify it, just to make sure, it was any poison or anything he might need treatment for, which that's fine. But by the time he got done identifying it, because he had to subdue it, he had to spray it with like a bunch of house cleaners and shit. Because bug spray will kill it, obviously. So he subdued it. But by the time it got to the point where he's like, all right, I'm done. I identified it. It's a paper wasp. You can do what you want. Because I told him, I said, all I'm going to do is cut that little stinger part, like right in half pretty much. And then, go on about your life. But you're not stinging anybody else. Like, not on my fucking watch. Not on my house, buddy. Like, at least... Not you, you might call your friends, and gang up on us, but even then it's going to be a turf war. But, yeah, so, between the fucking turf war with the wasp, the nursing home clan show, that I didn't want to even go to and didn't know what it was. And then starting next week, my hours at work change. My podcast schedule is not going to change, but it might be a little earlier, a little later. You know, I might, for the first week or two, getting used to it, I might end up, posting late, posting early, like posting on a Thursday night instead of Friday morning, or a Friday night, or Monday, Tuesday, whatever. But other than that, like I said, I'm going to leave Bill's Thursday. I haven't listened to it yet, so I don't even have a comment on it, for better or worse. But yeah, on that note, that's what my stories for the week are. Moral of the story, I guess, is read up on what shows you're going to and make sure you actually, you agree if you want to go. I should have just said no, but I feel like it would have caused more issues, and I'm passive if I can be, at least, or if I haven't gotten blackout drunk, but that's another story. And then with the wasp, there's no moral, because it's not like the guy did anything wrong. Like, he just, was fucking standing in the living room trying to change shirts, and the wasp just happened to fly in the wrong area. But it's still a story, a story to tell, because like I said, it's funny, because in my head I'm thinking the bee is thinking logically, and the wasp is just an asshole. Like, the bee is the guy with the one bullet, like the guy with the one bullet in the gun. Like, I need to save this because I might have to kill a deer and use that meat and that deer fur and skin to survive. And then you got the guy, like, standing next to him with, like, the fucking, like, the AK or an AR with, like, with the 30, 60 round barrel. Not even just, like, a clip or anything, like a full magazine, fucking, like, the round, like, looks like a spare tire on the bottom. And he's just firing the shots off into the fucking air. Like, not even aiming for an animal, not aiming for food, not trying to mow down a tree, just fucking shots fired off into random, That's the wasp, in my story. So take it how you like. Try not to get stung. Enjoy your weekend. Happy August, everybody. We fucking made it through, most of the summer. Other than that, yeah, stay safe, healthy, happy, sexy, fucking dry, cool, warm, whatever you want, whatever you need. Other than that, go fuck yourselves. Bill, I haven't even listened to you, but preemptively, go fuck yourself. And we'll catch back in Tuesday, see what he had to say for yesterday and Monday. Probably nothing besides white billionaires.